So today I thought I'd show you something which is a little bit different. It is just a British Empire medal. Well, maybe not just in this case. So as we know, the British Empire medal was instituted in 1922, and for certain circumstances from 1957 onwards, you could be awarded this little oak leaf cluster purely for gallantry. Now, as we can see, this one doesn't have the central silver grey ribbon, so this is a civilian award, and it has these oak leaves, so it is for gallantry. Now, these medals were awarded to a man called Edward Quigley. Now, as we can see, Edward was a service person of some description during World War II. We don't know what service he was in, but he has a 1939-45 star, France and Germany, a defence and a war medal from the Second World War. But then he has this British Empire medal. Now, at some point after the war, Edward joined the London Ambulance Service and was an ambulance driver. When in 1969 he was called with his ambulance to a sewer in southeast London. Now, 3 men had been working on this sewer which had a blockage. They poured a chemical down there to try and remove this blockage, and then one of them had gone down the hole to see if he could push the blockage through now the chemicals were working. Now, what they turned out to be was some sort of an acid, and they gave off an awful lot of fumes, and the first man down the hole collapsed. One of his colleagues, another man working on the sewer, went down as well and actually managed to get the first chap out of the hole, but then he too collapsed. And the third man, a man called Mr. Smith, then also went down the hole and tried to tie a rope around the now unconscious colleague. They tried to pull him out, but unfortunately the rope slipped, and now Mr. Smith and his colleague were both down the hole, one severely unconscious and one becoming unconscious. Edward arrived in his ambulance. He instantly saw what was happening. He got out an oxygen tank from the ambulance. He went down the sewer. He looked at the 2 men. One was a lot worse than the other one, so he put the oxygen on Mr. Smith, who was still unconscious but was better off than the first guy, and got him taken out of the hole. He had a rope lowered down to him. He was now being overcome by the fumes. He tied it round the second guy who had gone down, who was now completely unconscious. He was rescued from the hole. And as Edward got to the top of the hole himself, he also started to go unconscious. He was dragged out of the hole himself. He had now rescued 2 men. Mr. Smith had rescued 1. And unfortunately, the man who had gone down second, who had become unconscious and was laying at the bottom of the hole, unfortunately he died. But for his actions that day, Edward Quigley was awarded the British Empire Medal for gallantry. It's a very rare award. You really don't see this very often. But what a great story. What did he know was going to happen that day when he was called to a sewer in London in 1969? The British Empire Medal with gallantry oak leaves.